I want to tell you a secret. It is a secret that I kept hidden for a very long time, buried under layers of shame and pretended dignity. Before I was the man you see today, before the stability, before the wisdom, before the peace, I was a ghost. My address was a license plate number attached to a rusty 1998 sedan. I wasn't just broke, I was broken, and I lived in that metal box for 2 years. When you live at the bottom, you become invisible, or rather, people look through you, because acknowledging you is too uncomfortable. But the worst part wasn't the cold nights or the hunger, it was the shame. I remember parking blocks away from my family's house on holidays, fixing my tie in the rearview mirror, and walking in pretending everything was fine. I lied about where I lived, I lied about who I was. I was an actor playing the role of a functional adult, while every night I returned to a cold, lonely cage. That level of deception eats away at your soul. It creates a split in your psyche, where you begin to believe that you don't deserve the light. You see, poverty is not just a lack of money, it is a lack of cognitive bandwidth. When you are worried about where you will sleep or what you will eat, your brain enters a tunnel. You cannot plan for the future because you are drowning in the present. I spent months in that state, reactive, frightened, and bitter. I blamed the economy. I blamed my ex-wife. I blamed my parents. I blamed God. I was a victim, and as long as I remained a victim, the car was my destiny. The turning point didn't come with a thunderclap. It came in a public library, the only place that would let me stay warm for free without buying a coffee. I was sitting there, smelling like stale coals and desperation, staring at an old blackboard in the study room. It was blank, just a void waiting to be filled. And in the silence of the library, surrounded by the wisdom of centuries, I realized something terrifying. My life was that blackboard, but I had let the world scribble nonsense on it for 50 years. I had let my failures define the text. But staring at that black slate, I realized no one is coming to save me. There is no government program, no lottery win, no distant relative who will pull me out of this. If I want to get out of this car, I have to drive myself out. And to do that, I needed a new engine. That engine was my mind. There is a lie that society tells us as we age. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They say your brain hardens like concrete after 40. This is false. This is a dangerous myth that keeps people stuck in mediocrity. Your brain is not concrete, it is a muscle. If you stop using it, it atrophies. Just like a leg in a cast shrinks, a mind without challenge withers. I started treating my mind like a withered limb that needed physical therapy. I stopped using the library just for warmth. I started using it for war. I declared war on my own ignorance. I read. I learned finance, understanding for the first time how money actually worked, not how I wished it worked. I learned psychology to understand why I had self-sabotaged for decades. I learned how to speak and articulate my thoughts. Every book I read was a brick I used to pave the road out of that car. Pain became my teacher. The discomfort of the car became the fuel for my discipline. When my back ached from the car seat, I studied harder. When I was lonely, I read deeper. It took 3 years to get out of the car. 3 years of relentless self-education and saving every penny. It was slow. It was humiliating at times. But the man who stepped out of that car was not the same man who crawled into it. The old me was arrogant and fragile. The new me was humble and unbreakable. I learned that dignity isn't about the house you own or the brand of car you drive. It's about the mastery you have over your own impulses. I stopped blaming. I started building. I realized that most people are sleepwalking through their lives, comfortable but stagnant. Living in that car woke me up. It stripped away everything that wasn't essential. When you have nothing, you realize that your greatest asset is your capacity to learn and adapt. This is true whether you are 20 or 70. Neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself, is real, but it requires effort. It requires you to do things that are difficult. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Maybe you are watching this and you feel stuck. Maybe you are living in a car, but you are living in a prison of your own making. Perhaps it is a bad marriage you are too afraid to leave, a dead-end job that sucks your soul, or a mountain of regret about the past. You look at the calendar and you see your age, and you think, it's too late for me. The die is cast. Listen to me. That is the voice of the victim speaking. The wall you are staring at is not a wall. It is a door. But you have to push. You have to be willing to look foolish. You have to be willing to be a beginner again. You have to be willing to start over at 40, at 50, at 60. The shame of starting over is far less than the pain of never trying. I look back at that beat-up car now, not with shame, but with gratitude. It was the cocoon that forced me to change. It taught me that security is an illusion, but resilience is real. If I can rebuild my life from a backseat full of trash and despair, you can rebuild yours from wherever you are standing right now. Don't let your past blackmail your future. Don't let your age determine your potential. The sun sets, yes, but it also rises. You still have time, but you must start today. You must find your own blackboard and wipe it clean. Stop waiting for a savior. Look in the mirror. There he is. There she is. It is never too late. The blackboard is waiting. Pick up the chalk. Write your own ending.